Hi, how are you? Wow, this is exciting for me. Um, well, let me start off by saying, first of all, my name is Nina. I live in Chicago. I am a successful, single, African American, beautiful goddess, queen, and I currently am surviving a 3-year narcissistic relationship that ended July 30th, 2018. And I have been debating about talking about it um, live on YouTube. But there's a reason. And the reason that I've decided to do it is because I realize that there is a lack of knowledge about it. That's one. The second is women do not realize that they are currently experiencing it and going through it right now if they're in a relationship. And I want to hit home and be up close and personal because there is nobody since I've been researching it in Chicago that is really talking about it. And so, with that, I want to give a couple of shout outs and thank you to three people. The first person is Pastor T.B. Jakes, because he actually has talked about this, and actually, he's talking more about narcissistic personality disorders and relationships. He has helped. Derek Jackson, that's Derrickjaxn. I started looking at his YouTube videos last year around this time, and he just started speaking on narcissistic relationships a couple of months ago. But then my top hat goes off to ASC Direct. He's been talking about it for a very long time, but I have really intuned into his channel over the last 6 months. And even going through the relationship while I was in it, learning what it was about, that's when I started realizing that the relationship was about to end. So those are the three things, the three reasons why I wanted to come public with it. And I wanted to reach somebody that is in my city, because everybody that I've been communicating with, as far as learning about it, lives somewhere else. I think Derek Jackson is somewhere in Atlanta. Uh, ASC's Direct is, I believe, somewhere is Houston. TD Jakes is in Dallas, but there is nobody here in Chicago that is close that I can reach out to that's talking about it. And I always type in the subtitles um, about narcissistic relationships. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some women that are talking about it um, as well, but the difference between my situation and what everybody else is talking about and the audience that I want to reach is I want to talk about it and be an individual that is currently going through the healing process and talking about it at the same time. I want a genuine connection that when people start communicating and asking questions, I can say, hey, I just went through that last week. Um, Instead of giving past testimonies of coming out of it 6 months ago or 2 years ago or 9 months ago. No, I ended my narcissistic relationship July 30th this year. The last time I talked to him was about 2 weeks ago, and I'll talk about that in a second. The last time I seen him was a week ago, and I'll tell you about that in a second. So I hope that I'm trying to get you to understand that I want to talk to people and I want to communicate with people who are going through it so that we can go through it together. And I can tell you how I'm healing. I'm no psychiatrist. I'm no psychologist. I can tell you that I have 25 years experience in the health field. I can tell you that I'm successful in what I'm doing in my life right now. I can tell you that I still cry over just what I went through. I can tell you that I'm content. I'm not going to tell you that I'm 100% happy at this point. I'm going to be realistic and as authentic as I can. And I'm going to post videos twice a week because I believe that there is some women that are going through this right now that don't know what's going on in their marriages and their relationships. And I want to be a listening ear and a real experience for them to heal if they need to heal, to get out if they need to get out. And that's the reason that I'm doing my videos. There's also um, another reason, and that's because I am definitely looking forward to writing my first book. And I want my life in my book to be very real. Okay, so first thing first. Okay, you guys can call me Miss Nina, and you can pronounce that as MZ.NINA. And my YouTube channel is going to be, or the things that I'm going to talk about are current. And for the first few videos, I'm going to tell you about my experience. I've decided to make my videos 35 minutes long and just talk about my experience in my narcissistic relationship. Okay. I gotta put the promo out there again that I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but I am a human being that has realized and recognized that this personality disorder, if you're experiencing it with someone, is very serious. It has some biblical foundation to it and facts about it. And I'm speaking to women per se. If there's some men that want to come on here and hopefully some of the experiences that I talk about, you can identify with, you identify with them. But I do want to talk to women about it. Okay, real women, everyday women that you see every single day. So that's first and foremost. Okay, so I met him, and you have to be careful when you're talking about people in these type of situations because they don't, they don't want to. You don't want to um, put yourself in a situation where you are putting anybody on Front Street. I would love to say his name. I really would, um, but I won't. I met him online, and it started out as a joke. It started out with me and my cousin. She was flowing through some pictures, and I asked her what was it. I was single at the time. I had just got out of a divorce, maybe 6 months at that time, and so I was at a good place. I was just in my life doing me. I was at a happy, content place. Living alone, working out, which I still do. Um, Starting on some goals that I wanted to meet, working a new job. And I just was doing some things where I was peaceful and happy. And I was dating at that particular time. Scrolled through some pictures, found this picture, contacted him. We was contacting each other back and forth on the date thing. Never thought it was going to be anything serious. Of course, it was a dateline thing. We met at a Fridays in Oakland, and we talked on the phone maybe like 2.5, almost 3 weeks before we actually did a date. And we met. And if I sit here and think about it now, I can't tell you that it should have been a red flag that I paid attention to that I see now that he possessed the day that I met him. He was not as confident as he was on the phone as he was in person. He never looked at me in my face. He glanced every time he got a chance. But things that I noticed now that I should have noticed then that I didn't. So fast forward, we had a nice date. After that, maybe we continued on talking on the phone a couple of times. He invited me out a few more times after that, for about a month or so. There were some dates here and there, and then there were some good conversations on the phones. He started liking me, you know. He started with the phone calls and started with the attention and everything that you do when you get into a relationship. Fast forward, maybe a month into the relationship, I had a party at my house, invited him over. He was able to meet some very dear and near people to my heart at that particular day. A month after that, we were intimate that night. That night was maybe a week or so prior to New Year's Eve. I didn't hear from him. I was like, called, he didn't respond back. You know, he didn't tell me. He had told me that he was single, that he didn't have anybody, and that the person that he did have, he was just having sex with her. That should have been a red flag. So fast forward after that, we dated some more, started liking each other, went out a couple of times, and declared that we were going to try to make it official. We did that. 3 months into the relationship, he cheated. I walked away. So that was 2015. Walked away March of 2015, and didn't bother him anymore. 6 months later, he contacted me back. We continued talking again on a friend level. I knew what was up, and that was my mistake. From September of 2015 until now, this year, it would have been 3 years if I would have stayed with him. There was a lot of cheating, ladies. I had got to the place where I would go to his house unannounced. He would have people at his house, women at his house. By this time, I was in. My heart was in it. My head was in it. He kept apologizing, saying he wasn't going to do it anymore. And that was my mistake. Narcissistic people will love bomb you. That is one of the terms that I learned. They will put you in a triangle with other people to try to make you see that the other person and that they can get is better than you. Ghosting. Then when they get mad at you, they will not answer the phone or block you for days. They will love bomb you in the beginning and make you feel like you're just best person in the world and you're the queen to them. They give you all this attention. And women, that's what we like. They're good at bringing you in. And once they bring you in, man, it's magical. Um, my videos, I'm going to be talking about experiences. Not going to talk about all of them at one time, but I hope the experiences that I talk about will enlighten some of you and give you some insight of if you're going through this situation now. Um, they try to make you feel like you're the one that's wrong. Everything that's good about you in the beginning of your relationship, they praise you for it. And then once they get in and know that they got you, they take that and turn it around against you and make it a negative thing. They turn family against you, your friends. And it's only because they are trying to get something, they're trying to gain. And the things that they gain from you are things that you probably wouldn't, that money can't buy. For example, I'm a very loyal, very supportive, very resourceful person. I introduced him to places and things that he would never otherwise have gone through. They don't take accountability for anything that they do. Places and things that I've shown him and introduced him to and give him ideas for, he'll take it and post it on social media like he did it or he came up with it, but I'm the one behind all of it. They like to play the victim. Um, very good liars. Love to see you hurt. There's so many areas that we can talk about with this. This is just, again, like I'm saying, an introduction. And when it comes to people with narcissistic behavior, personality, you cannot address them with it because they don't even know they got it. They're unable to even feel compassion. And if they do, it's very early on in the relationship or they're trying to get over on it. So you have to be very conscious in what you do and what you say. And I think the thing that saved me was that I am a very analytical thinker and I have the need to get the truth. The sex was magical. It always is with those individuals. When they're into you so much, make you feel like you are a queen walking on gold streets. When they're out of you, you are like dog shit. That's how they treat you. They can go from treating you to the queen that's on gold to dog shit all in the same day. And you'll be looking around like, what happened? You'll be doubting yourself like, okay, it was times where I would say, you know what, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to address this issue because right now we're having a good time. You'll get to the place where you'll find yourself changing. You'll get to the place where you'll start doubting yourself and you won't even take accountability for yourself and what you want or the things that are bothering you because they make you feel so bad or make you feel like you're uneducated. And you know you're educated. You're smarter than what they are. This particular individual can't spell. His grammar is shot. He can't read really well. So a lot of the things that I would do for him would be reading and writing. You know, but when you're in love, and that's what it was for me, you do those things. Now, let me be clear. One thing about me is I'm very loyal and I'll do everything for you. But he couldn't get my money. As I sit here and talk to you about it, I was able to save a lot of things for myself. And there was a lot of things I saved for myself. Like, I was fortunate enough to go through some of his personal items and find out about his past history. And so that stuff because he was so resistant in telling me. When we were dating, I had a lot of access to his house. So, as I told you, I'm gonna be honest with you and tell you everything so you can identify with some of the things that I've been through. I was able to find out his history, his past. I was able to eventually find the code to his phone, the code to his safe, and all the things that he was love bombing me with in the beginning all turned out to be a lie. To the condo that he said it was his, it wasn't his, it was in his sister's name. Um, the DJ equipment, because he's a DJ, he used to tell me how much money he spent on all of these things, and come to find out, he had an ex-girlfriend for 10 years and she brought all of his stuff. He's been in and out the relationship with her for 10 years, telling her that he's going to marry her when he gets all of this womanizing out of his system. She's right now, today, still waiting on him. I had the opportunity to actually speak and talk with her toward the end of the relationship, maybe last month sometime. Um, just amazingly, a lot of lies that he basically told. He found bankruptcy. His credit wasn't that great. He just started getting back on his feet. A lot of his personal items, even in his home, he got illegally. Um, the women that he dated. Oh, I was able to look at pictures of women that he dated in the past. Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he would pull in women that was not very attractive, and I guess this was easy because he can manipulate those women, you know, to a certain point where he could gain from them. So sometimes you have people that has low self-esteem because maybe they're not physically attractive, and they don't have, and they're lacking some things. So to get attention from a man, they will probably otherwise do more because this man is giving them a certain amount of attention. And so I was able to go through his past and find out a lot of things. So I believe this kept me safe. I believe a lot of this stuff kept me safe because I was able to really see that all the things that he was telling me was a lie. The things that he was saying to me wasn't true. And so it caused me to back up a little bit. So toward the end of the relationship, um, I seen that we wasn't really growing in a relationship. To me, at the pace that we should be, have been together for 3 years. I knew I wanted to be married. He knew I wanted to be married. And I didn't see our relationship moving into that particular realm. Maybe I was a little, I don't know, maybe I was a little apprehensive about some things because I seen all of the cheating that was going on, and then I stayed. But people with narcissistic personality disorder, you don't realize that when you're in a relationship. I didn't realize that this was who he was until about 7 months ago. So that means for a year, maybe no longer than a year. If I didn't realize this 7 months ago, I started realizing is that he was narcissistic maybe around Christmas of last year. No, even before then, maybe October of last year. But I had already fallen in love with him. Um, my self-esteem probably had started getting a little low. And I don't even want to say that, to be honest with you. I really want to say that I loved him. And I thought that some of the things that I could do would change him, and it wouldn't. So as I go through my channel and talk to you about this, I'm going to go through what healed me and where I am today. I'm going to be talking about how I have transitioned from 2 months ago to where I am right now. And I hope that this reaches group of people, a group of women who are going through it currently. Yes, I'm going to be talking about experiences from my first few videos. And then I'm going to move into steps that help me as a person with narcissistic personality disorder, or dealing and being in a narcissistic relationship. Um, and you can use other videos too. You should listen to ASSC Direct. You should listen to Derek Jackson. He has really opened my eyes to the games men play, and just certain basis about that. TD Jakes gives it from a spiritual realm. So the RC Blake, oh, RC Blake is another individual. I said RC Blake, Derek Jackson, ACC Direct, and TD Jakes. Those four individuals. RC Blake's phenomenal. Um, he really is talking about the narcissistic personality disorder. ASSC Direct is a specialist on it. He's been talking about it for years and years. And all these individuals I just started listening to 1 year ago while I was in the relationship, trying to figure out what was wrong with him. I had got to the point where I thought it was me. So, and realized it wasn't me. It was him the whole time. So just to fast forward a little bit, how I got, what caused the relationship to end was February of this year. I had said to myself that if he hadn't invited me to his family reunion this year, that I was going to not be in a relationship any longer. And I had decided that I didn't want to continue in it because it was not going to grow. And I didn't want to see myself getting any older trying to figure out where the relationship was going with this individual. Now, last year I didn't go on to his family reunion because it was mine. At the same time, it was his. And a year before that, we had just met. So I didn't feel like I needed to. But now here it is, 3 years that we've been together. Your family reunion is happening. And this was going to be the deciding factor for me to know that if he was serious about me enough, that I would at least go to his family reunion. That would at least be the least of the relationship. So I made up my mind in February that if this didn't happen, that I was going to start pulling back. Lo and behold, we were at his house one day and I asked him, I was like, hey, my family reunion is in August of this year, and I want to know if you're going to be able to give me $50 so you can be a part of it. Sure, yeah. So when is yours? Yours is coming up too. Am I going? His response was, well, I'm not sure if I'm going or not. I don't know. I'm going to take Kendall, which was his granddaughter at that time. I said, well, his granddaughter. I said, well, what does that have to do with me going? I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm going. We didn't talk about it no more. Fast forward again, 2 more months. It's May now. Mentioned it again. Find out he says, no, you're not going to go because I'm taking Ken, my granddaughter. Come to find out, people, his ex of 10 years, who he still communicates with, was going to the family reunion. I found out about it once he got back in July of this year. He asked me how I found out about it. He was upset because I always have caught him up. Ever since we've been in a relationship, I've always been able to catch his ass up. And that would be something that he would be mad about. Yes, ladies, I would go by his house when he was not there to make sure. Yes, I found out the code to the phone, the laptop, and everything else, and started seeing more cheating things. So yes, it kept me to be able to save a little bit of myself. So now that I sit here and talk to you about it, once I started realizing that those things were factors, I was able to say, okay, this is not going to last. This is something that he's not going to be able to hide from me. So I got resistant. I started pulling away. I started staying home more. I started being a little bit more distant on the phone. I started saving something for me, saving myself. And it helped until the relationship ended in July. That's when I started seeing the real narcissistic personality disorder in him. And this is what I want to share with you. The crazy part about this disorder is they will the real part of the narcissistic behavior can come out in the relationship, which is true. But toward the end of the relationship, he treated me as if I killed his own mother. He treated me so devious, so disrespectful, that every trait that identifies what a narcissistic person is came out. And this is how I know that he has a disorder. He never met my mom. He met her one time indirectly. The day we broke up, he decided to take it amongst himself to go to my mom's house without even knowing my mom and sit on her couch and defy my character. He told my mom a whole bunch of lies. And my mom and my sister had already didn't like him because, of course, during the years, they would hear that I was still dating him and he had cheated on me and stuff. So they had already gathered an opinion about him already. It was phenomenal, the lies that he told. They like to be the victim and they don't want to be the one to get left. They want to feel like they've done the leaving because it's a strike against their ego. Narcissistic people like to play the victim. So he tells everybody I'm crazy. He tells other people that we know mutually that I was crazy and did all these weird, funny things. And it backfired. Oh, don't let it backfire. You have to be strong enough to recognize that these individuals will not stop until they are on the top. They will take from you. You will try to have a conversation with them, and before you know it, when you turn around to have a conversation with them, you'll be looking upside your head like, how did this get on me? They're good at gaslighting. They're good at silent treatment and no contact. Excellent with that. The good thing about him and I, we did not live together. We don't have any kids together. We don't own anything together. So the separation was really easy. The only thing we had to deal with was feelings and emotions. As the weeks go on and as I post more videos, I will be answering your questions and talking to you about different things that has helped me. Somebody asked me a couple of days ago how I feel. Am I happy? I'm content. I'm content with what has happened as far as the relationship is concerned. I'm content. My happiness is going to come when I continue communicating with you and as time goes on. So I'm content. I no longer have to worry about things that was really bothering me. Like us being together, when I was with him, I still didn't trust him. Every time he picked up his cell phone or it rung, I was looking at it. As soon as I would leave him, as soon as I get in my car and drive away and go home, I knew that he was on the phone talking to another woman, planning whatever he's planning with them. The trust was gone, and I still stayed because I loved him, and I knew it is love. I still love him, That's how I know that he has the disorder. And that's why you have to know the other person has the disorder, because you go into the relationship 100, giving your all. And that's how you know that you are uh, uh, doing the right thing. I gave him 100. And the fact that I still love him lets me know that I was genuine in a relationship. They're usually never genuine in a relationship. And so, with that being said, you try and try and try and try to fix it, and you can't. So, tomorrow, people, when I come on, I'm going to be either coming on in the mornings at between the hours of 6:30 and 7:15, or I'll be coming on in the evenings around this time. And I want to reach you. This is my first video. It's my first introductory. I'm praying and hoping that it gets better and better, that we can all continue to talk and share ideas and type in and leave messages. I'm in Chicago, Illinois. I'm in Crest. No, I live in. Well, I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I live in one of the suburban areas in Chicago. Um, I know a lot of people. Again, my reason is because I want people in Chicago to know that we got somebody here. That's a plain, everyday, working African American queen that is talking about this narcissistic disorder, and it's affecting our black men, it's affecting our white men, it's affecting all men, and they are out here. There's some biblical foundation to it. Um, Look it up, read about it. It's called narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. Um, Read the traits, type it in the YouTube, look at RC Blake, look at ASSC Direct, Derek Jackson, TD Jakes, and type it in. You're going to see all of the things that is being talked about this disorder, because it's a serious disorder. And if you are experiencing it, my sad experience is because there are women who are married to men that are narcissistic, and you don't have a clue that this is what they're dealing with. Yes, there's a way to deal with them while you're in a relationship with them, where you can have a peace of mind. But if you don't know what this is and you're dealing with it, this will break you. And the longer you stay in it, if you're not married and don't have no kids with them, the harder it is for you to get back to yourself. So I want to thank you today for tuning in and looking at the videos. I hope that I pray and hope that this really gives you an idea of what we are headed into, and what we are experiencing in relationships. So I will talk to you soon. Thank you for listening. And I will see you soon. Thanks.